exclusive breastfeeding up to 6 months or 150 days, complementary feeding from 6 months to 2 years, and continuing up to 2 years and beyond. And the scope of the presentation introduction, benefits of breastfeeding in NICU, formula milk, global challenges of breastfeeding in NICU, Bangladesh global best practice in the way forward. And I like to say these words, Surah Baqarah, Ayat 233, the Holy Quran. The mother shall give suck to their offspring for 2 whole years, if they desire to continue. It is the prescription of Allah Ta'ala 1400 years ago. But now we are scientists. We are also telling that it should be for 2 whole years. So, the miracle of Quran. Nutrition care unit provides critical care to sick and newborn, while breastfeeding is essential for all infants, especially vital for those in ICU due to their fragile status. And breastfeeding, particularly colostrum, is rich in immunoglobulins, antibodies, and anti-inflammatory agents that boost up the immunity, promote intestinal maturation, and provide protection against infection. And initially breastfeeding within 1 hour can reduce the neonatal mortality up to 100%. For instance, the infant earlier sustained breastfeeding can act as a life-saving intervention. We have followed, but the science is now giving the references. The breastfeeding and breast milk, because what is the most important? We all know, but we do not motivate it still. It is a gold standard infant feeding, it is a perfect food for their composition, provide optimal growth and nutrition, essential for early childhood development and infant. It is also important on the infection. It is very valuable for NICU patients. And you know the importance for the baby, perfect nutrient, easily digested, and protects against infection, less SIDS, and promote health of the premature baby. You know, this is that the whole world is coming forward for the premature baby's diet as a breast milk. And mother also has an important contribution for the mother cell, helps delay new pregnancy, lower the risks of breast and ovarian cancer, and many more. Even Alzheimer's disease is less who are breastfeeding their babies. And the protection against infection, when mother is infected, what they are going to do mother body and protect mother, some of the boys will go to bed and make the antibody there, and the mother's infection serious breastfeeding and protect the baby. So it is the most important function of the breastfeeding in ICU patients. And we know human being is divided into 2 parts, the nutritional factor and all the appropriate protein, carbohydrate, fat, minerals, and vitamin and enzymes, and it has got disease protection factors. All the immunoglobulins, vitamins and macrophages and neutrophils, and lactobacillus is very important. And we know colostrum, and you have seen this slide for many times, I think. It is anti-rich, it has no white cell, it is a purgative, decreases immunity, jaundice, growth factor, and helps to develop intestine and eat in the vitamin A. And the protective cell, the breast milk will full of live cells. তাহলে তো স্যার একটা বলতেন যে ওটার দুধ হচ্ছে গরুর দুধের শুটকি আর মায়ের দুধ হচ্ছে লাইভ মিল্ক জীবন্ত দুধ because it contains the cell neutrophil and macrophages and key helper cells, and macrophages produce the interferons. Most of the places, what is the benefit of breastfeeding in NICU? Colostrum plays an important role in the immune protection and rich in immunoglobulin A, lactobacillus, and others. And IgL, it provides a protective robust membrane of the GI tract. It prevents an invasion of pathogen by neutralizing them, and is especially important for preterm baby. And lactoferrin is an important major component of the colostrum, binds to iron, and which they limit their availability to harmful bacteria. It also possesses the direct antimicrobial properties. And it reduces inflammation in vulnerable infants. Lactoferrin has lymphostimulatory action, and it has antioxidant environment. And I think that we have already said the immune cells are present abundantly leukocyte, cytokines are in the colostrum. And the immune cells are protected against infections. It is supporting our immunological programming, promoting the tolerance to beneficial gut microbiome. It's important. Promoting the tolerance to the beneficial microbiome. And breastfeeding stem cells, we have many stems in the breastfeeding. It is a capability to differentiate into neuronal lineage. Breastfeeding stem cells have two fundamental properties: self-renewal and multipotency. It is very important for the blood expression patients because it has a neuronal lineage, and breastfeeding has many microRNA, 86 different microRNA that involve in regulation of T and B cell development. And these all components significantly reduce the risk of leukocardiosis, sepsis, respiratory infection, hypothermia, and long-term development in pregnancy infants. And the growth factor in the colostrum, implant growth factor plays a crucial role in the development and repair of the intestinal mucosa, enhance the nutrient absorption. Human being always varied the third most benefit in breastfeeding, but infant baby can digest them. But this goes to large intestine and nourishes the bifidus factor, the bifidus bacillus, and it also produces the adhesive protection in the intestine. Breast milk for preterm is very, very important. Milk from the women who deliver the premature is initially higher in protein, fat, free amino acid, and sodium. The baby's own mother's milk is especially suited for the baby. The full of biotin, biological growth factor, especially suited for her own baby, and improved outcomes shown in extremely preterm infant because it contains many protective biofactors, lactoferrin, immunoglobulin side, growth factor hormone gland, and the right side, protein gland, anti-inflammatory, especially important anti-inflammatory cytokines. Many biofactors are not highly concentrated, expressed in colostrum by the mother who deliver extremely premature infant and especially acute. Lower to the baby of India, so who received only milk formula were found to develop more than twice many infections as some human. And this one is আমি বলতে চাই কারণ আমাদের মনে হচ্ছে ওটা তো ভালো কিন্তু ওটা কিন্তু একটু ভালো কম ভালো মানে ওটা খারাপ সেটাও বলে না কোনটা হচ্ছে খারাপ এটা বলতে হবে বেবি ডিসকাউন্ট ইমিউনিটি যেটা বলতে খারাপ আর্টিফিশিয়াল বেবি ইমিউনিটি ইনফ্লামেটরি চেঞ্জ in the gut very important and the risk of infection this I do in your bonding. And this is not just of infant formula in ICU. Powder formula is not sterile. যে কৌটার দুধ কিন্তু sterile না itself can have harmful bacteria, Corynebacter, Sakazaki and Salmonella. The koutar doodh is not sterile. It may contain the harmful bacteria. And this includes if we feed the baby with artificial milk, increase the risk of enterocolitis, sepsis, higher hospital acute infection, weakened immunity and heart dysbiosis, increases the cost into complication. The relative risk of not breastfeeding increases the relative risk of death 6 to 10 times. You know, they are protected, protected, but artificial milk induces the death in the baby. And artificial studies show that the more system, more value in United and the old study, the old study, the 40 times death in formulated baby was died. And this guy, respiratory diffusion of people the non-breastfeeding SID is also more. Internal study found electricity is 7.7. And heart supported respiratory one study observed better body temperature and superior oxygenation in preterm infant who are receiving breast milk. And nicotine is 6 to 10 times more often. In our training time, there is not exclusive in the learning. And so we observe many nicotine at that time. But we now not saying this thing. Very good convert have also regularly people to the rest in the respiratory and infant preterm baby and death rate more if we do that artificial milk and consider economically less chance of survival in those that you work artificial milk and to that active to our population illness increase 3 times more and global challenge of breastfeeding national. Globally, fewer than 50% of the preterm infants are exclusively breastfeeding nation. Very sad finding. And key challenge to nation, mother incarceration. Because when they sick, they are transported to mother is residing in the postnatal ward. There is a maternal stress anxiety which decreases the breastfeeding production and medical complication. The baby are unable to suck. Lack of education support, absence of training staff and structural education program, and inadequate nutrition staff because mother has no bed and privacy. In a mother's context, the most important is a lack of hospital policy for exclusive. I think it is a zero. No hospital has breastfeeding policy, exclusive policy for breastfeeding, lack of training of breastfeeding support for maternal staff, lack of motivation of healthcare providers, and the almost absence of breastfeeding. Very few hospital initiative helps to be successful breastfeeding, and not existence of antenatal counseling.